And one of the pieces of news was that Salesforce, right actually as we were recording last week's episode, announced Agentforce 3. And I don't know that I would characterize any of the things in this particular release as being all that groundbreaking. To me, there were two things. One is there lots of focus on interoperability, on governance, on things that we talked about as being the big bugaboos going forward. So not surprising, but also very necessary. But probably the thing that I find most interesting is this product is what, just over a year old, something like that. And here we are on the third release, and the rate of innovation, particularly for a product that by all accounts, I mean, I know they're talking like having 8,000 customers or something, but in practice, at least from what we can tell, it's still in the very, very early stages of adoption, where it's not like this is being driven by customers and the demand. So it just, I found that interesting and what that might mean in terms of the state of the industry. So I don't know, what was your take on this particular announcement?
Yeah, agents are a wild topic right now because I feel like everybody's using agents to mean something different. Your company, of course, has their agents. The company I will be going to, but can't announce yet, also is working on its own agentic strategy. But first of all, we're kind of confused on whether to talk about agents as basic workflow automation or predefined actions, or whether they're autonomous and able to work by themselves or able to work with other agents, right? So there's already this first piece mess. And then the extent to which these agents can interact with other agents, other data sources, other systems, and how open those agents are is a question as well. And I feel like part of what Agentforce has been doing, Salesforce has been doing with these Agentforce versions, is reacting to each additional tier of maturity that we've been creating. So this tier of maturity, Agentforce 3, was really about looking at agentic interactions through things like the Anthropic Model Context Protocol, as well as creating its own control tower, which Agentforce is calling, I believe, a command center.
Command center. Yeah.
Yes. And most of these announcements are going to be happening, honestly, in July and August, but they're announcing it now before July 4th. And then the summer doldrums happen, which is just a smart marketing thing to do. And then hopefully when we all come back for school and work in September, all of this will be magically built.
Yeah, I think what I think is, and I guess look, this will be the proof will be in the pudding as this rolls out. But I think I do think it's a valid assessment that this is the sort of evolution of maturity. The only thing that I would argue is it's the evolution of maturity of thought more than it is of practice. That I think that as people are beginning to, in earnest, think through, both customers and the industry as a whole, thinking through MCP, I think is a great example of this, right? How it's evolving. And it's mostly as people start thinking through how we're going to deploy this, they're recognizing we have these parts that are missing or parts we have to fix. But it's more about that thought exercise and about getting the product sort of ready than it is that, oh, we have customers that have deployed this and are hitting these roadblocks, right? I think the deployment process, and we're going to talk about this a little bit later with some comments by Jerome Powell, the Fed chair. I think this is really the part that's coming to a head, and that I think that the one thing I'm sort of worried for the industry overall is that we are so far, I feel like the software community is so far ahead of customers in terms of the actual deployment of most of this technology, that there's this mismatch. And that I think it's just a function of the speed. It's just, this is a pace that we've never seen in terms of the development of the technology sector. So it's really, really interesting.
Yes, I think from a practical perspective, CIOs are currently trying to figure out, how do I build an agent, and then how do I trust that agent? And you have to get to that initial trust before you can even start thinking about agentic orchestration and agencies of autonomous agents working together and producing the benefits that are being promised to us at a high level around being able to replace, even call it 1% of jobs, much less 10% or 20%.
We're going to talk about that more later today.
Yeah.